Hey there, my name is Katie, dietitian and personal trainer, and I am here to help you build your confidence and balance in your food and fitness journey. We're gonna start the first Wellness Wednesday with the top 10 common nutrition questions that I get asked. We're gonna break this into a two-part series, but I'd love to keep this going. So make sure you comment below and let me know what your nutrition questions are. What things come up for you that you want answered from a knowledgeable expert. Today, we are going to answer some of the top questions that I get asked from clients, friends, family, strangers, etc. I'm gonna do my best to answer these questions a little more candidly. I wanted to just kind of be a little more relaxed and open with you guys, have a little mug of coffee with me, and casually kind of answer some of the questions that I commonly get asked because I felt like that's just a more relaxed way that I like doing it. Nutrition can be a little too serious sometimes in social media and in other internet communities that I see, and I really just don't want to make nutrition feel that way for you. I want it to feel easy and relaxed. So let's get into those questions. So the first question that I often get is, I'm new to nutrition, so if I had to do one thing to change my health, what should I do first? That is a fantastic question. It's actually a really complicated and complex answer that I have, but I will try to just kind of boil it down to a few main points. I could go on and on with this answer, but we'll stick to the basics. So if you're looking to try one thing to really change your diet or to start off, I would definitely say that having fruits and vegetables bumped up in your diet is going to be the number one thing to start. So what does that look like? Typically a half of your plate being fruits and vegetables for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and for snacks, just having a fraction of that be a fruit or a vegetable. That doesn't have to be like an exact rule of thumb, but just in general terms, if I had to describe it, that's what it would look like. So why is that the case? Fruits and vegetables have so many benefits, it's really hard to boil it down, but if I had to just throw it out there, fruits and vegetables have antioxidants. Antioxidants are something that fight against free radicals in the body, and free radicals do damage. So we want to avoid damage so we can live healthy lives and avoid chronic disease in the future. So in other words, antioxidants really help with that. They also help with skin and looking young, and that also has to do with the free radical thing that I just mentioned, but it all comes down to feeling and looking our best. Fruits and vegetables also have tons of fiber, which is great for your body in so many ways. So fiber helps, as you probably know and have heard, with digestion. Digestion is so important, again, for so many reasons. We want to have good digestion so we feel good gut-wise. We don't want to feel constipated because that's really uncomfortable. But also what happens when we go number two is that all the bad stuff or the excess things that our body is trying to naturally detoxify, this all goes into our feces. And so what happens is our body detoxifies itself and excretes what it doesn't need, so anything in excess. So if you're not pooping regularly, then the excess can get reabsorbed back into the blood, and that can, long story short, not be a good thing. But if you are regularly excreting your waste, then you are excreting those bad toxins and those bad things that your body doesn't need and gets rid of naturally. So it's a really good thing to have these bowel movements regularly. You can't really talk about nutrition without talking about bowel movements. You know, fun stuff. The second part of this answer, I know I'm giving a really long answer to the first question that we have, but the second part is more about mindset. So I think that having a positive mindset about nutrition is one of the most important things. Yes, there's a lot of science and a lot of things that we can change positively in our diet nutritionally, but from a mindset standpoint, it's really important that you have a healthy perspective on food. Coming from a history of having an eating disorder, I really know both sides of it. I know now the healthy, balanced mindset of it, but I also know the extreme of really overly restricting and finding every excuse to restrict and deprive my body of what it really needed. Oftentimes, where this stems from is black and white mindset. So finding a balance is really key with that. And I'm gonna mention balance all the time on this channel, so if you don't like that word, you might not want to be here. Balance is key. Thinking less about what you need to restrict and think more about what you want to include in your diet more often and what makes you feel good. That's really what it comes down to for me, and that's what's helped me make peace with food. So whatever way you do that for you, I have other videos on how to have a more positive relationship with food, and I will continue to make some in the future. So if you're interested in that, give this video a like and comment below and let me know. Question is, what diet should I follow? So long story short, there's no one diet that works for everybody. This is a common misconception that I see in the media, where we have like keto diets and paleo diets and gluten-free diets and et cetera, and it's touted as something that's beneficial for everybody, and that's just not how things work. There are general guidelines that we follow. USDA is the most common one, and those are pretty general recommendations for everybody, and they work. But it isn't to say that even the USDA guidelines, you know, you can't make them work for you. So no one diet is like perfectly succinct for every man, woman, human on this planet. Some people do better with higher carbs, maybe like an athlete that needs more carbohydrates, and some people do better with higher protein and higher fat. Maybe someone that is looking to gain muscle, or a woman who is looking to get her period back. So don't let anyone tell you that one specific diet that works for them also has to work for you, because that's just not true. And what it comes down to is you should really find what works for you. Find a diet that allows you to have all food categories and really doesn't say that restricting something is going to cure you or help you, unless of course you have an allergy or an intolerance of a food. Then of course you can get rid of that food, but again, comes down to what works for you. Next question is, do I need to count calories? Short answer is no. Intuitive eating is something that I talk a lot about on my channel and in other places, because I think it helps us grow that positive relationship with food, because we're going by what our body needs, not what, you know, someone tells us to eat in exact amounts. That said, I love to meal plan and meal prep, but I also like to listen to my body, and if I don't want the food that I meal prepped, or I want to add to it in some way, then I'm not afraid to do that. I think that it's important to plan and prioritize your health, but also listen to your body at the same time. I work with some clients, for example, that have never reflected on their food before, and I think it is a good thing to reflect sometimes and see what your diet looks like if you've never done that before. And so typically a couple days out of the week, I'd say do 3 days of just logging and looking at what your diet looks like, and then seeing how you can improve and what you'd like to see change to fuel your body better. I don't like to come at it from a calorie counting standpoint, because I think that it can often lead to obsessive behavior, which we don't want when we're trying to have a healthy relationship with food. Again, I did that in the past, and this is my personal experience, but it led to more obsession than it did helpful things. So I think that there's a time and a place where logging can be beneficial in very short term, but long term, I think it's better to know what foods fuel you and listen to your body's hunger and fullness cues. Next question is, should I avoid carbohydrates? I think you probably know my answer here based on some of my other answers to other questions, but no, you don't have to avoid carbohydrates. I think that's a very silly misconception that's out there. I know there's probably a lot of, you know, people out there on low carb diets, and it works for some people, but no carbs is just not a smart thing for the body, because so many things, so many functions in the body depend on glucose, which comes from carbohydrates. And yes, we can convert other things like fats and proteins to carbs if we need them, or to glucose if we need them. However, proteins and fats are used for specific things in the body. My cats are fighting in the background. I'm sorry if you hear any cat noises. They're okay, I promise. So yes, proteins and fats can be converted to glucose in the body, But proteins and fats also have different functions in the body, like protein is primarily used for collagen and for muscle growth, and fat is like to be used for storage energy that we can have later, and other things like hormones and stuff like that. But carbohydrates are our primary source of energy, so if we have too little of those, we got brain fatigue, we are just not feeling our best, and our body is producing less serotonin because serotonin comes from carbohydrates. So long story short, you need carbs, so go ahead and shamelessly eat them. All right, last question for today's video, since I like to blab on and on. What about grains and bread? Is that bad for me? Absolutely not. These are another like highly hated on food on the internet, and I think it's so wrong. Whole grain bread and whole grain crackers definitely be part of a healthy diet. If you're trying to eat a more unprocessed diet, then you can go for things like brown rice, quinoa, farro, whole grain pasta, stuff like that. And well, pasta I guess would be a little bit processed, but nonetheless, there are options that you have that can be beyond bread and stuff if you feel that is too processed for you. Personally, I love bread. I love whole grain bread. It's got a perfect nutty flavor. It's good for avocado toast. And you know, I like the occasional bagel and pizza. So there's room for bread in your diet, just like there is for everything else. So again, I don't like to say that anything should be restricted because all foods can fit. So if you loved today's topic, then please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you want to watch more videos. I will have more to come, so I promise we will be talking again soon for the next Wellness Wednesday. Make sure to check out the links down below because I will be linking to some important things that are coming up. I have a 21-day challenge coming in November of 2019. That's the year, right? Yeah, 2019, and I will have lots of more exciting stuff soon. I'm planning a nutrition guide that is more of like a gentle guidebook with some recipes and fun stuff for you guys to learn more about nutrition and health. And finally, today's question of the day is, what are some nutrition questions that you have that you would like answered? Hope you have an awesome day, Dark Blue community, and I will see you in the next Wellness Wednesday video.